Hey everybody, it's your friend Sarmate here, and we're back with another episode of Settlement Survival. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day today. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about a couple buildings that I overlooked in the first episode, as well as grab a couple new techs to start really getting us going with some things. We have some immigrants just about here in the town, and we're going to grab those people, and we're going to get them to work right away. Now, we had a pretty bad winter last winter. I didn't have any domestic fuels prepared because we were in the midst of building our sawmill. So our sawmill is good to go. We lost like 3 people, but now we have the sawmill ready. So hopefully this year we fare a little bit better. We're currently at 0 domestic fuels, however. So I do have a bunch of people out over here gathering a bunch of things, but you may have noticed we have some tool issues as well. So we're looking at a couple obstacles right now. I did get a smithy built up. We are currently needing a few more people, and those people have just arrived. So we're going to go ahead and grab the town hall, get those 10 people, and I'm going to get them working in the smithy right away. At least 2 people. So we'll get that set up, and I think we're going to go ahead and do some iron tools. We won't bother with stone tools because we have more iron. So we'll get these 2, Archer and Tim, busy working on some tools for us. And I was kind of looking up over here at our new happiness tier and our new health tier, and apparently tool quality is diminishing our health. So we got to get that fixed. We're working on it. And then our happiness tier, I noticed that shoes are a thing here. So I would like to get some shoes. The problem with getting shoes is that's all the way in leatherwear. And if we take a quick look at leatherwear, leatherwear is going to require us to have planks, steel tools, and lamp oil. That's a little bit far off for us right now. So we can't adjust that happiness bit just yet. So we have to hold up on that. But in the meantime, I'm thinking that we get into the reed fields. This is going to take some clay to make. So if we grab a reed field, that'll be 1 point. I'm not going to do it just yet. I'm going to think about it before we grab them. That's going to require us to get into mining and then sand mining so we can get the sand pits. And this would be a good next step, just to get that sand mining. The clay is required for a lot of these kind of 1.5 tier buildings. But before we even get into the calcining kiln, we're going to want to have refined fuel so that we can power the calcining kilns to make bricks and glass. But the problem with refined fuel is you would really want to have a good source of timber going on before you get into that, because it's going to eat up your timber. Eating up your timber is going to hurt your tools, it's going to hurt your domestic fuels, all that kind of stuff. So we want to have that figured out really before we get into it too deeply. I was thinking about maybe working down the tree into getting forest farms as well. So let's go ahead, let's get reed, let's get apiary, and let's get sand mining. All right, so go ahead, we'll get reed, we'll get apiary, and then we're going to go ahead and go back to sand mining, and we'll go ahead and we'll grab sand mining. Another thing that we could start to think about is maybe trying out some pottery things. Now that we'll be able to get some clay, we can do some pottery, and then we can think about maybe getting some trade started, but not quite yet. Another thing that we can do with the reeds, once we get enough of those happening and we get some processing and we get into the knitting, and we can start making those reeds into ropes. The ropes can be made into fish nets later down the road. And we can also turn the reeds into paper, which we can then utilize in our schools and our research institutes. So that would be awesome if we can get that. So let's learn those couple things. We got lots of issues going on here. 11 laborers now with those immigrants. Super great. A couple of you guys mentioned that maybe I went a little bit wild with our pasture. I probably did, a little bit too big. The reason why this may be an issue is because the quantity of geese, 67 is quite a few geese. But as you can see, we made it. We've just started to produce goose meat and dung and feathers. So that's looking fantastic. So I don't think that's going to be an issue for us, luckily. And then I do have another pasture here, and that is because we found some buffalo. So I'm going to get that built up over time here. 400 is a lot of logs for us right now. We don't quite have that, so we're working on it. I noticed that we didn't have the Herbalist Hut. So we're going to go ahead and get that guy built up. We're going to need some timber. As always, of course, we are going to be continuously marking trees to be cut. And because it is winter time now, I kind of want to be closer to the main source of the town here, namely their houses, so that they don't have to go so far into the woods and get cold and then potentially die of cold. So we're going to go ahead and grab these trees that are all right here. All the farmers, everybody are going to go ahead and cut those down. I'll just do a quick check. I didn't lose any farmers here so far in the winter. We got to keep our eyes peeled. If we do lose one, we'll be able to replace them, so it won't be too bad. Ooh, we have Alva and Baldwin. Alva's going to give us the output of gathering structures plus 10%. That's pretty good. And then we have soybeans. So that's okay. We have oats. So let's go ahead and get the output of gathering structures plus 10%. Gathering structure would be something like the hunter's hut, I believe. They got to go out and gather the meat, is why I think that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I'm curious to see what the herbalist hut is like. This is going to be a new building for us. So we'll go ahead and gather up this timber and we'll check it out shortly. But before any of that, I noticed, now remember when we settled this area, we're kind of a little ways from water. So I did drag a road out over here, and we have a road ready to go kind of by this lake. And this lake is going to be a very important piece for us for a little while here. It's going to house our reed fields and sand pits. So let's go ahead and get our sand pits started here. We'll get a couple of them going. I'll probably do 2 to begin with. I was thinking about maybe putting them up in here, but this is a really great flat spot. So I'm going to save this space for a mine at some point. So we're just going to go ahead and try and line a few up over here. All right, there we go. We got our road in there. We have 2 reed fields and 2 sand pits. It's going to be a little bit of time before we can get these things really going. We need a lot of timber. We need some stone. So we have them queued up. We'll continue to gather resources around. You can see that we got all of these logs all picked up. Good to go. We're still doing pretty okay with food. Looks like we're just barely over the production with that new group of immigrants we got. We have to consider maybe using a couple more people as farmers. So let's go ahead and do that in this field right here. Additional oats coming in. We'll have 4 farms going, and that should be pretty good. This geese is going to really start to get going here pretty quickly, and that's going to provide us a very good amount of food as well, and we may be able to adjust some farmers out of the farms and put them to work someplace else. We did have to add in an additional well here, so let's go ahead and put somebody working that well and getting us a little bit more water. You can see here that we are in the negative, but not by too much, so we can resolve that hopefully pretty quickly here. A lot of zeros over here on the left, so we currently have some tool issues. So let's check our iron tools. We're currently +5, so that's looking okay, I guess. We just got to make sure that we have enough timber coming in to continually make tools and to continually make domestic fuels. So kind of difficult to do. We do have 3 people right now working really hard in our sawmill to get those domestic fuels, and you can see currently right now we aren't even utilizing the timber, which is fantastic. We're utilizing some animal dung from our geese here to make those burnable fuels. So that's good. That's really great. That's going to help our timber problem. We'll have a timber problem here for a while until we can get some forest farms really up and running. Let's see. So we're going to have to go ahead and mark some more things. I'm going to want to include some iron because we are starting to use iron in our smithy. So we're going to go ahead and mark a bunch of these more trees here. And I did put a storage yard here. So we learned from our previous little playthrough, kind of the short season that we had there, the benefits of putting a storage yard closer to where you're gathering things. Now that just makes sense. That was our friend Porton that gave us that little tip. Very, very good. I'm using that here. I'm using it a little bit over here as well. Very close to our farms, and then whatever else we have to gather up over here. You can see that I've pulled all these trees up out of here. So that's working pretty great in our favor. Happy about those things. So let's see. We do have one more point over here. We can see what else we could get into. So the police station, this thing was previously good for increasing happiness. Let's see if they've changed it at all. This says, when criminals appear in the town, sheriffs can hunt down suspects when things are still under control, preventing further casualties. So this currently says nothing about the happiness of the area of effect, but it's not too difficult to build. So let's go ahead and grab the police station. If this helps our happiness at all, that'd be really great. We're currently sitting at 62%, which because of this new system is under agitated, which increases food consumption by 10%. Now, at this point of the game, we can't really have that. So we're going to go ahead and see if this police station helps to increase our happiness. I'm going to go ahead and put it close by so that we catch as many of those homes as possible, and we'll get that guy started up right there. And while we're at it, let's go ahead. Oh, I was going to say prioritize it, but this is cut stone, not regular stone. So I missed that. I probably read it as cut stone, but we are going to need to get to construction and cut stone to be able to create this police station, or we do a trade for it. And currently we aren't really set up to do any good trading. So we have to wait for one more tech point. We can get the cut stone happening, and that'll be not too big of a deal. We just got to wait a little bit longer. So I'll continue to leave the police station. We'll get the timber, and then we'll get the cut stone eventually here. But the timber is our biggest thing right now. We currently have the 6 laborers continually getting those logs for us. One thing that I noticed I don't see anymore is a whole lot of tools. So we're getting our tools figured out, which is also excellent. But I am noticing we have a couple naked people running around here. No clothes, which is a big problem for the winter time, of course. So do we even have a tailor? Let's see. We're going to go ahead and go to processing. And we'll do our little thing here to see if the tailor lights up. Oh, in case you don't know, a simple way to see if you have a building built already is so we have our smithy right here. Watch what happens when I do this. So you can see it kind of flashes. So what I like to do is, I'm looking for a tailor. Do I have a tailor? Do we see anything flashing? Nope. So we know we don't have a tailor. At least you can do that pretty easily in the beginning here because it's all on one screen. But we'll go ahead and we'll grab the tailor. We'll get the tailor built up, and then we can hopefully get some clothes happening too, because we want to have both clothes and tools coming in. So hopefully we can get those things resolved. It looks like the garments are going to hurt our happiness. So until we have some more clothes again, our happiness is going to take a small hit. We are currently still in 60%, still agitated. Food consumption is still up 10%. So we want to resolve that as quick as possible here. Missed it there. I just saw it for a split second, but it looked like quite a bit of our fields are being wasted by the winter here. So next year we have to watch this a little bit more closely, and we have to see if we have to adjust the field, maybe having 4 workers, which, I mean, I hope not. We're already using 3 workers in each field. That's pretty good, I would think. But if we have to adjust it, we have to adjust it. Remember, they've changed things on us, so we have to adjust accordingly. Another thing that we learned was the apiary, but we never got that built up. So let's go ahead and we'll find the apiary here. Beehives are generally found near mature trees within the structure range. Apiarists collect honey and beeswax from them. Okay, so we want the apiary along with some more mature trees. And that's going to kind of yield a little bit of an issue for us currently because we're chopping down all the trees. We need them all right now. So what I think I'm going to do here, we'll kind of go out a little bit ways over here, and we'll kind of build our apiary right off this little crossroads right here, and we'll get that guy started in this little area. And then we'll keep in mind that we have that there. The radius will probably be about right in here, and we won't cut any more trees in this direction. We can go south, cut these ones, some over here maybe, or we can cut some more down over in this side too. So we are currently waiting on some clay. We're still working on that sand pit, still gathering up some stone. Let's go ahead and make sure that we gather some of that. That'll get picked up, and we'll be right back while we gather some goods. So in the last harvest, I watched our farms a little bit more closely, and some of them are doing really great, and some of them not so much. This one, for example, is at 302 oats in the last year, but check this one out, 908. Looking fantastic. So what I did is I did put an additional person in each one of our farms around here to see the difference in this upcoming harvest season, to see how well we do. We do have currently 3 laborers available, waiting on a couple of buildings to get built up here. The gathering of timber and other resources has been happening. It's a little slow, but we're working on it. We're getting there. We have some more immigrants nearly here. We'll pick those people up. It's going to be good. We'll have a couple more workers. We also completed our tailor. So what I did was I said, hello, we have way too many things getting built up. We need to stop some things. So all of the things over here, I have paused for now. And what I wanted to focus on was the tailor. So we got the tailor working. That's good. We're getting some clothes coming in now. Instead of 50 naked people, we now have 65 extra clothes. So we have that working very, very well. We're doing great on tools now, 166 in the positive direction. We also learned cut stone. So I just had mentioned that we needed some cut stone for our police station. We still need that, but we have our masonry workshop nearly completed. We need 3 more timber in there, and then of course to hammer it and build it up, and then we'll be looking really great with that. So the Herbalist Hut, now this is a new building, I mentioned that, and let's see what the Herbalist Hut needs. So we are going to make medicinal powder with medicinal herbs. So okay, we can do that, and then bandages are made with medicinal herbs and cotton cloth or linen. Oh, it looks like we have a decent amount, 543. So we're going to go ahead and select medicinal powder. So the way that we're getting medicinal herbs right now is because we are just gathering all when we gather up the trees and things around the town. So the way that we are going to be able to produce our own, we're going to have to go into technologies and get down into the nursery to grow herbs and other special crops, such as coffee or tea. So that's something that we could work towards. We need a couple more points to get to the nursery. We already have the apiary, which is great. We just need grove, and then nursery will be good to go. So we're about a quarter of the way there for our next technology point. Maybe we'll get to that in this episode. We'll see. And we also have our immigrants. Let's go ahead and grab those peeps. We have 11 of them. We'll do that and get those guys. So one thing that we are kind of running low on is some housing. So we do have a little bit of wiggle room here in our interim housing. We are currently now up, looks like it's going up slightly here. So we'll say we have 4 extra spaces. We need to get a couple more houses in here. I did throw in 2 more. So we're going to probably fill in this whole area with some housing here. It will probably go a little bit more to the south eventually. Just try and get a few more houses. For now, the interim housing is working great. But before the next batch of immigrants, we definitely want to do that. Oh, so it looks like we missed the harvest, but let's see. So, ooh, that's not that much greater. 302 versus 314, not great. This one is a little bit better. We got about 100 more. That's pretty good. Here also about 100 more, and here about 100 more. So the additional worker did help out a little bit in some of our farms. One of the things that I think we may want to do is, since all this land over here is bare, let's go ahead and put in a storage yard on this side as well. We're going to go a 10 by 10 here, and that'll be quick for these 2 fields to just run right here and turn in their oats, and then we'll be able to use those. So for this next upcoming year, let's go ahead and leave the 4 workers apiece in these farms to get us some more oat seeds. We're doing okay on food, not super duper great. We're minus 200, so we want to figure that out a little bit more. So checking out our geese here, we did get 228 geese meat in the last year. It's pretty good. We could change that a little bit more, make it a little bit better. Hopefully, if they didn't change our butcher on us. With the food processing tech, make the butcher and the food processing plant. But if we do that, we can't quite get down into the nursery yet. So we have to kind of think about and see what's more important. I'm kind of leaning toward the food at this point, but we also are going to need medicinal herbs. So we have to see where we kind of end up here in a couple of years, and we'll see what we need to get. So with all 16 of these farmers now off the field, we want to make sure that we are gathering all. This is a repeating thing in the early game of Settlement Survival. Constantly gathering all resources around here. Got to make sure we're getting our rocks in and our ore, especially since we are using it to make iron tools. Looks like we got a couple little spots of just plain old rock down over here, and then our nearest ore is way over here, so that's pretty far. I'm going to not have them gather that just now because of the winter time, so I'll hold up just for a little bit. We have some stored up, so we don't have to have it right this second. Oh, it looks like we got a little bit right here too, so that's great. We don't have to go quite so far. Masonry Workshop is okay to go. Let's go ahead and get this happening. Well, we only need 20. So what we're going to do here is let's put this to 100, and we'll just do 100. And once we have 100 set up, we'll take Vic out of there, and we'll put Vic doing something else. And then we will have the cut stone that we need for now. And that will be, of course, for our police station here, and get that working for us pretty great. We're really kind of struggling with our timber here. I'm just trying to gather it all up. They can see that we're pretty bare most everywhere around the town here, continuously gathering up all the things. Gotta keep doing it. And then down over here, since we had this stuff paused, we could absolutely turn these back on. But something I thought of is we could put a fishing dock down here now that we have this already, and I think that's going to be slightly more important than some of this other stuff we have over here. So of course we have to make this tied into our road, and I'm going to make this. However, oh, look at this. We need 30 planks. So to make the 30 planks, we got to come over to our sawmill. And that's going to require us to swap this to planks, which we could do. However, we're going to run out of domestic fuels if we do that. So something that we could do instead of using that sawmill is create another sawmill. And we could do that right next door to this buddy. Actually, let's go over here because I'm going to have to move most of these buildings over here like we were doing in our last season, just to make room for more housing. So we're going to go back over here with the sawmill, and we'll use this sawmill to make planks, which will then be in turn used to make, well, many things, but to start with the fishing dock. Again, we need 30 planks for that. Let's get these other things in here and we'll be good to go. But let's also turn this back on, and then we'll at least be able to start getting some clay coming in. That'll be really nice to have that started. And then once we get some more timber figured out, we'll be able to get some bricks going and some glass, and that'll be really good to have as well. What we could do while we're needing some more trees is get our forester hut going. Now remember, we had our apiary over here, and the apiary likes to have the mature trees. So what we could do is build a couple foresters over here, which we've been doing for a couple of seasons now. We do 2 foresters like this. One of them is going to be for cutting the trees down. The other one is going to be for planting and not cutting. So what we'll be doing is making a really dense area of trees. And then, of course, the apiary is going to like that. So we're going to go ahead and get that started up. Let's go ahead and prioritize this forester's hut, and we'll get that happening. And then we can have a more stable income of timber. It's not super great, but it's better than, having to click every single tree pretty much as we gather it up. Well, speaking of which, I guess what we got to do yet again. Another thing that we have to start thinking about is we look at how many people we've had die already. 29 in our first cemetery. We have to get another cemetery started up here pretty soon. We have only 85 regular stone, so hopefully with some of these that they're going to gather up over here, that'll be enough so that we could build our cemetery. We're currently at the 98, so we should only need a few more stones and be able to do that. So I'm going to turn that one back on, and then we will get rid of this cemetery. But when we do that, something that we want to get while we have the extra point here is the material recycling. The raw materials of demolished structures can be 100% recycled, not including upgrade materials. So we want to get this to utilize the 110 stone that we have from the first graveyard and use that for the second one. We do have a second point here, so let's go ahead and get material recycling learned, and we'll save that tech point for now. Another batch of immigrants is on the timeline, and then over here in our field, we have people harvesting. So let's wait just a little bit longer here, and we'll see if these 4 people on the fields and this new storage yard right close here are going to yield us better results for some harvesting. We're already sitting at nearly 2,000 oats, which is substantially higher than what we need. You can see that we're like about plus 600, so that's pretty awesome. It looks like this field is nearly cleaned up, about 9% left on that one. 36 is the highest it looks like. So we'll just stick around for just a second, make sure that this gets all picked up, or at least as much as possible. It looks like the snow's coming, and yeah, there goes the field. So I'm not certain what we can really do at this point to upgrade this field enough to be able to utilize as much oats as possible out of it. We could absolutely use 50 of our iron tools to go into that field and upgrade it a little bit, and maybe we may have to do that. I'm very surprised that we lost so much yield from that field, even though the storage yard was right here. In contrast, this was the field that was very good in the last season. Look at that, 1,400 oats brought in from that one field. Very, very good. I have no idea why this field is doing so much better. Oh, I know why. Look at this. There's a green thing back there. It's more fertile. That's why. So that's why this field is doing so much better. It's more fertile, and this one obviously just isn't doing great. So I'm not sure why this one isn't doing great. We could try the whole, like I mentioned there, but maybe we'll try that in the next episode. So thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Settlement Survival. We have a lot of laborers. We can get a lot done in the next episode, and we'll definitely get our sandpits working and a couple more things over here. So thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you on the next episode of Settlement Survival.